The views and opinions expressed are those of the individual and are not the reflections of any Grand Masonic body. The goal in this video series is to enlighten the minds of our viewers with Masonic education for the modern Freemason, wherever they may be. Take due notice thereof and govern yourselves accordingly. This is Modern Working Tools, today's tools for the modern Freemason. And here is your host, Brother Justice.
Hello, I'm Brother Justice. Modern Working Tools, today's tools for the modern Freemason. I hope everyone is well. I hope all of you are enjoying your summer vacations. I hope that your lodges are very active in the community and you are doing good things right now. The world could use it. Right now, there's a lot of problems that we have in today's society, and the world could use a little bit of love and support. And before I get into this episode, I would like to give heartfelt condolences to the friends and the families of the victims of the recent 4th of July shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. I know that there's a Masonic Lodge there. I think a few lodges meet in the building there, if I'm not mistaken. My heartfelt condolences go out to the brethren who are impacted by this event in their community. Masonically, I hope you brethren can get back and show support to the community and be active and just show that love and encouragement that we as Brother Masons show on a regular. But I think the world needs to see a little bit of that love. You know, we have to aspire to be the change that we wish to see in the world. And right now, we could use all the love and support right now. And that's the great thing about this fraternity, is that it brings different people together. And my heart goes out to all of you. But yeah, so today's a different episode. I apologize for the lack of content, but bear with me here. You know, my father, as most of you know from the previous episodes, I've mentioned that my father is also a Freemason. He recently joined last year, and we decided to, you know, take a Masonic road trip together and visit another lodge or Masonic sites of interest. So we did a road trip together, and we decided to drive all the way to the Washington, D.C., Virginia area and try to scout for some Masonic sites. And we've yielded some very cool finds. That's what brings me to this episode today. I just want this to serve as a little casual vacation vlog sort of episode. So yeah, we visited a town called Alexandria, Virginia. Shout out to Brother Adam at Spes Novum Lodge here in Libertyville, Illinois, for connecting me with Brother Sean Ayer and Brother Kella Bates Taylor from the Scottish Rite. I was able to meet up with Brother Sean in Alexandria, and we had lunch at this fantastic restaurant called Gatsby's. It is a very historic site of interest for a few reasons. You know, George Washington had a birthday party there. He dined there. Adams, Jefferson, you name it. George Washington gave his last speech and military address in 1799, right before he died, on the front steps of the actual restaurant. So yeah, it's really, really cool. It's a very old colonial era style restaurant. It had some you know, work done. You know, it's had some preservation attempts and whatnot. I posted some of the photos. You'll see some of the placards. But yeah, it's a very awesome restaurant. Great price, reasonably priced food, great service. I highly recommend Gatsby's in Alexandria, Virginia, if you're looking for a really cool restaurant, really good quality food, and you're not looking to break the bank as well. But yeah, that was a very great spot. We talked about Freemasonry, and afterwards I was able to go to the Washington Masonic Memorial, and that was quite an experience. They weren't open, but Brother Sean quickly let me see a few things in there, and it was such a great honor, and I thank him very much for his hospitality and his professionalism. He takes his job very seriously, and he's very great at what he does. He's also an excellent Masonic writer as well. If you want to check out his work on Amazon, but wow. This is a Masonic site dedicated to George Washington's Masonic career, actually. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that $10 of our dues that we pay in Illinois actually goes to the Washington Memorial for like upkeep and maintenance. I don't know if that's true or not. I asked them over there, they couldn't really give me an answer, but I believe some of our dues actually goes to this building for the upkeep. It's a very beautiful, ornate building, and I can tell that it could use some upkeep because it's just too beautiful. It needs to be upkept. It needs to be preserved. There's a lot of maintenance that goes on in maintaining some of the pieces in the museum and whatnot. I can tell that this is very costly to keep such a monument running and operating. It's not cheap, and I think most Grand Lodges would agree that it is important to preserve this history of ours. And what a more beautiful place. That I was just blown away. I'm at a loss for words. It was just too much from the senses. So yeah, I mean, there's different floors of the building. I think a few lodges actually meet in this building. Every floor has like a different theme or motif. Mostly Washington themed stuff, Masonic themed stuff, museums. And one floor in particular that kind of stood out the most to me was a DeMolay themed room. It was very beautiful. I wasn't really expecting that. And then we went all the way to the top, and we were able to overlook the whole city, actually. And if you look down below, you could see a beautiful big square and compass right on the lawn. It was very beautiful. And then, yeah, I mean, after that, I went to the House of the Temple. They kindly let me in. The tour hours were over, but they still let me in and mosey around, and that was really beautiful to see that. It's a very big, beautiful building, and you could easily get lost there. And right by the House of the Temple, a few blocks away, there's the Order of Eastern Star headquarters. And at the moment, I think they were hosting like a private party or a wedding or something like that. I didn't want to intrude, but I was able to kind of go around and scale the building and kind of see what that's about. It was a very beautiful building, and perhaps next time if I visit, I'd like to go inside and check it out. But I hear it's actually a very beautiful building on the inside. After that, let's see, there was the actual trip to Fredericksburg to see the old lodge, the Mother Lodge of Washington. I don't know, it's not exactly that building per se, but in the colonial times, it was like a tavern down the street. However, in the 1800s, they decided to build the actual Masonic temple there. And it was funny because I'm a big fan of Lafayette, Marquis de Lafayette, and apparently he was invited to this lodge for a ceremony, and he actually came, and he was actually in the top floor of the lodge building. And I believe in the 20s they did another building in the base floor of the lodge. So there's actually two lodge buildings. The original one is upstairs, and below that is on the main floor. So it was really cool, and I want to thank Brother Worshipful Master, Brother Chuck DiRienzo, for his kindness, his hospitality. The brethren at Fredericksburg number 4 are very polite, courteous. The food was great. I just would like to thank him very much for all the courtesy. And it was really cool because there were some brethren from Denmark there, and they're members of the Swedish Rite, and it was cool to talk with them about their experiences in the Swedish Rite and sort of the differences involved. It was really cool. They have a lot of items at this lodge. I think it's because this is Washington nostalgia that you see. I mean, the whole town essentially is like Washington, everything similar to like Springfield, how there's a lot of Lincoln themes. It's very similar. At times it could be a little creepy because it's like everything you see is like a bust or a statue or some Washington theme, but it's really cool to kind of get lost and sort of explore this colonial era that a lot of early Freemasonry comes from. So it's really cool. So yeah, this lodge had its first meeting in the 1700s, the late 1700s, and they've been continuously operating ever since. And they still have on the books of Scotland, their Grand Lodge, they still have it on the registry, this lodge, even though it's on, the Grand Lodge of Virginia's jurisdiction. But they still share the lodge on the books. I think it's one of the few lodges that the Grand Lodge of Scotland has from American charter still. So it's really cool. And I believe the Grand Master of Scotland is actually coming down there in November for some anniversary, and the Grand Line of Scotland is going there. Yeah, they have a really big event. I think they're working in conjunction with the Masonic Memorial there as well, so they might be heading down there. But yeah, there's so many artifacts. I mean, they have the original Bible that Washington took his obligation on. And apparently, some grand jurisdictions in different countries want to borrow this book for their consecration ceremonies or for an installation ceremony. They want to take their oath on this as well. And I think that's actually pretty cool. In their bylaws, you have to have, I think, 3 or 4 members actually with the artifact at all times. Yeah, so they're definitely going to be securing that and making sure everything's okay. So After that, there was this museum experience. It was like a museum slash estate sort of deal where you can actually go visit Mount Vernon and kind of like see the homestead. That was also very interesting. You see in the home a lot of paintings, different engravings, different busts, also pottery. It's not uncommon. So you see that, and yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoyed hearing about the different stories about like who was in the building, who lived in the home. Lafayette stayed there for a little bit. It's pretty cool. So that sums up our show. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you have a great time this summer and enjoy it. And I hope everyone is active and safe and doing great things for their community. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was the vlog number 1. Until next time, peace.
Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Until next time, to be one, ask one.